Today we're gonna get a little fancy with it. We're gonna cook some salmon fillets here. Now, I don't get to cook salmon often, but every time that I do, I always feel like, a real good experience because, salmon is not a cheap thing, they're kind of expensive, but it's always a nice little meal to make, especially if you're looking to make a little fancy dinner kind of vibes. A nice, salmon fillet is something real good to prepare. And today I'm going to be doing it in a nice little citrus sauce or a little citrus glaze. And we're going to get some help from our friends at Angostura using the Angostura Orange Bitters. Now, the thing is, I don't get to use orange bitters as much as I would like in a lot of recipes. So I'm really looking forward to making this because it's a great way to incorporate orange bitters into a savory meal. So, without further ado, we jump into this one time. And as we all know, salmon is not a cheap fish, it's rather on the pricey side. So we want to make sure that we treat this salmon right. So the first thing we need to do to prep it for cooking is make sure to pat it dry. And of course, you want it at room temperature. So if you take it out of the freezer, out of the fridge, you want it to thaw until it's room temperature. And the reason why you want it to thaw to room temperature is because we definitely don't want to overcook the salmon. Again, it's an expensive piece of fish, and it don't make sense buying this, paying all that money for it, and then you're not gonna cook it right, you're gonna overcook it. We don't want to dry out salmon. We want some nice moist salmon fillets when we're done. So we want to make sure and treat it right. So as I said, pat it dry with a paper towel. That's important. And again, getting it at room temperature when you thaw it out will ensure that you cook the salmon right through without having to overcook it. If it is not at room temperature or too cold in the middle, you will have to cook it for a longer time to allow it to cook through the middle when it's cold, because of course it'll have to come up to temperature before it starts to cook. But when it's at room temperature and you place it in your hot pan, the cooking process will start to happen evenly right through, rather than it just cooking on the outside, but the inside's still cold and had to come to temperature before it started to cook. So again, make sure that your fillets at room temperature before you cook them. So we're gonna pat these dry, remove all that moisture, because we want a nice little crust on it too, right? And well, these are skinless and boneless, but of course, you could use the fillets with the skin on, that's fine as well. But this is what I have, so this is what we're working with today. All right, so our fillets have been pat dry. So let's move on to the next step. Let's season up this fish. Salmon is a real delicate fish, so we don't want to go too crazy with the seasoning here. Keeping it simple, just going in with a tablespoon and a half of lemon pepper, some salt to taste, half a tablespoon of red chili powder for heat, and mix that up. Add in a little bit of vegetable oil, give that a mix. Nice, now we have our seasoning for our salmon. Easy, simple as that. So now we just want to take our seasoning, spoon it over the fish like this. Want to flip them over gently, of course, and apply the seasoning to the other side. And just want to rub that in. And again, because this is a delicate fish, and you just want to maintain that vibe in the dish, you don't want to go too crazy with the seasoning for this. You don't want to overpower the flavor of the salmon. Salmon is a thing that tastes great on its own. Fish in general, if you get a nice piece of fish, you want to, treat it well. Season it, yes, but don't over season it. You don't want to overpower the thing where all you're tasting is seasoning and you can't taste the fish at all now. So, light seasoning Generous, yes, but still light enough that the flavor of the salmon will come through. All right, so we have our salmon fillets seasoned up. Now, time to cook them. So you want to make sure that your pan is dry and you want to make sure that it's hot before you put the fish on, because this is a pan-seared salmon that we're doing. So to get that sear going, you want to make sure that one, the pan is dry and that it's hot. So we have it on medium heat here, and now I'm going to gently place the salmon in. Nice. And you're not going to touch this, you're going to leave this and allow it to cook for 2 minutes on this side, and then we're going to flip it and cook it for another 2 minutes on the other side. And you can see the salmon starting to cook right up through the middle by the way it's changing color from the surface to the middle. So you can actually look at this and see the level of doneness while you're actually cooking it. All right, 2 minutes in, it's time to flip these. You want to be careful. You don't want them to break, so be very gentle with it. So you have a nice crust there. Perfect. Let's flip this one. So you have a beautiful sear on our salmon here. Nice, beautiful crust. That's what we're talking about. All right, 2 minutes later. Now it's time to remove these from the pan. So to build the sauce, I'm going in with a tablespoon of butter, 3 cloves of minced garlic, and squeezing in the juice of 2 oranges. And of course, to enhance that nice orange citrus flavor, a couple of dashes of our Angostura Orange Bitters. Add in a few sprigs of fine thyme in there as well. And now as it has begun to reduce, we want to return the salmon to the pot. And then we're going to allow this to cook for another 2 to 3 minutes. Of course, you want to baste the salmon with the glaze or the sauce. So now the only thing left to do is to dig in and eat our salmon. And I mean, you see that this didn't take long to cook at all. 2 minutes on each side, remove it, make our sauce or our glaze, and then put it back in and let it cook for about 3 to 4 minutes. So in total, no more than about 7 to 8 minutes is all you need to cook this salmon. Anything longer than that, you're running into the territory of overcooking it. So, time to dig in, right? Cutting into it. All right, salmon, don't embarrass me here. You're supposed to be moist. That is what we're talking about. You seeing that? Moist. That is what we're talking about. So none of the flavors overpowering here. You have a little spice from the chili powder. You have the citrus flavor from the lemon pepper. And then the salt just to tie it all together. And with the glaze on top, that's just the icing on the cake there. We have the nice butter, giving it that real kind of luxurious feel there. And then the citrus from the orange and of course the Angostura Orange Bitters, just to bolster that citrus orange flavor in there. I'm gonna tell you something. This, you had to make this one. You have to make this one. Ratings. And I mean, you see how perfect this cook here. I mean, that is the consistency you're looking for. You see that? That is perfect doneness for me. Anything beyond that, we in the territory of overcooked. That nice, moist, perfectly cooked salmon. Trust and believe, follow this recipe. You can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong. So before I finish, eat out all this food, special thanks to Angostura for sponsoring this recipe. This Angostura Orange Bitters really comes through in the glaze and gives it a real nice orange citrus flavor. Real powerful coming through there, but not overpowering, because I remember I said the salmon is a delicate fish. We don't want nothing overpowering the fish. So yes, it's a strong flavor, but it's not an overpowering flavor. It's a real nice addition to kind of help bolster, as I said, that nice orange citrus flavor. So yeah, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, give it a share. And if you want to try the recipe, I will post a link to that in the video description. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.